If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck or just want some extra cash without having to quit your job, stick around because these side hustles can make you some serious money in 2025. I took the time to analyze 100 side hustles to find out which are the best for you in 2025. I ranked these side hustles based on 3 categories. Number 1, how rewarding the side hustle is. Number 2, how expensive the side hustle is to get started. And number 3, how profitable the side hustle will be. I ranked these categories on a scale of 1 to 10 and combined them to find out which side hustles are the best for you. I don't want to waste any of your time, so let's get started. Coming in at number 10 with 21 out of 30 points, we're going with custom clothing design. So custom clothing design is great if you're into fashion, if you want to get into a creative realm for your side hustle and you don't want to have to spend that much money. So some of the pros to this side hustle are that it has a ton of creative expression. You get to focus on something that's unique to you and personal to you, which will make it really rewarding. And it has great potential for brand building that can last years after you start the project. Some of the cons for this side hustle are high inventory management, fluctuations in fashion trends that may lead to you not performing as well one year as you did the year prior, and high initial costs. The barriers to entry for this side hustle are design skills. If you don't know how fashion works, if you don't know what's good or what's trending, you're probably not going to do well in the side hustle. Another barrier to entry is access to materials and manufacturing. There's tons of websites out there now that'll help you with this, so it's not as big of a deal as it once was. And the final barrier to entry to this is marketing. Since this is going to be an online-based business, you pretty much have to know how social media marketing works if you want to have success. Coming in at number 9 is bartending and mixology. This one's way different from the last one. If you love to drink, if you love to make drinks, this may be perfect for you. So of course, you guys all know what bartending is. This is a great job that you can do on the side on the weekend just to get some extra cash. It pays really well and it can be a lot of fun. If you enjoy drinking, learning how to make drinks will be a super rewarding project for you. This can be done at bars, weddings, parties, you name it. The pros to this are if you're a social person, this is a great social environment. You can drink a little on the job and get chatty with a bunch of people. It'll be a ton of fun. There's also a high chance that you'll get tipped throughout the night, so you'll be bringing in even more money than you would have if you were working on a different type of job. The cons to this are the irregular hours. If you're not a night person, this definitely wouldn't work for you. It can also be really loud, kind of physically demanding if you've been working on a Friday all day and then you immediately go out to a bar and have to work there until 3 a.m. It's going to make you super tired. The final con I'd bring up is drunk people. If you aren't drinking at all and you're around a bunch of drunk people all night, that may get annoying, especially over weeks and months, so you may want to think about that as well. The barriers to entry for this are pretty simple. You just need a bartending certification. If you don't know how to make drinks, you'd also have to learn how to do that, but that can be a fun, rewarding hobby on its own. Coming in at number 8 is coding and app development. So coding and app development is how people go about creating games and websites on the phone and on computers. This can be super rewarding as they can be big, long projects and they can bring in a ton of money. The pros to this are that there's a high earning potential, like I just said. You can make a ton of money with this. You can also do it all from your home. You can just do it on your computer. You don't have to go anywhere. You can work for anyone in the world. You could work from anywhere in the world. You could be in Italy, you could be in Japan, you could be in China, you name it, and you can still work whenever you want. This job is also rewarding if you're a creative person because it takes a lot of creative brain power to come up with solutions to problems that you may run into while developing these apps, websites, you name it. So some of the cons that comes with this is it has a very steep learning curve. Coding is like learning a new language. That's why it's called a coding language. It takes a long time to get into. It may even be difficult for you to find a job at first because you don't know much. But if you can get a basic contract, you could learn while you're working. You can make a little bit of income that can push you and get you to be able to pay for courses that will teach you a ton more than you can find online for free. There's also a lot of competition for coding. A bunch of people go to college, obviously, for computer science, for coding. So if you don't know what you're doing, it may be hard to find jobs compared to people who went to college to code. When it comes to barriers to entry, like I said, being proficient in whatever coding language you're using is a big thing. You need to get good at it before you can get any high-end jobs that are paying you a lot of money. Another barrier to entry is access to development tools. Some of them cost money, so you may need to pay for them. If you don't know what you're doing, there's going to be a ton of research that comes with that. So unless you actually know how to code, I wouldn't really recommend starting with this. Next up on the list, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, it's lawn care, landscaping, and pressure washing. So I'm sure you know what these jobs do. It's working on the landscaping. It's making sure all the flowers, trees, all that look nice. It's mowing the lawns, doing the weed whacking, all that stuff. Pressure washing driveways, pressure washing the sides of houses. If you're really into the aesthetics of homes, if you like things to look nice and clean, this could be a great job for you. If you like being outdoors, this is also a great job. The big pros to this type of side hustle is that there's a ton of demand. If you get a client, the odds are they'll become a recurring client. You'll be working with them continually throughout the years over time, being able to build these relationships and make money while doing so. The business is also much more scalable. You can hire people to do it for you, and you can work on the higher end stuff later on. So this could turn into a full-time job if you wanted to, or you could keep it small. A big con of this is the seasonality of it. So if you're living somewhere north where it becomes winter, you're not going to be doing any lawn care. You may shovel yards if you'd like to do that, in the snow, but it's pretty much a job that you would do in the spring and the summer. But that may be good for you since it's a side hustle. You could just do it for a few months out of the year to rack up some extra money and then go on throughout the rest of the year on your time. So the barriers to entry in this is the initial investment in equipment. Now, it's not that much depending on what type of equipment you buy. If you're going to be doing massive yards, you may want to get like a full-on rideable lawnmower. But other than that, it can be relatively cheap depending on how much money you want to invest into it. Another barrier to entry is some areas require local permits. So you would have to figure out that for your specific area. You may also need insurance. You don't want to get sued. But I would say that you might want to get insurance for a lot of these different side hustles. Next up on the list is what I personally do, content creation. So content creation is making videos, blogs, vlogs, anything that you're putting online to entertain, inform, educate other people. It can be really fun and really rewarding, and I'd highly recommend it. This can be one of the most profitable side hustles on the list, but it can also end up being the least profitable if you never hit it big. So the pros to this are creative freedom. You can pretty much make whatever you want for whoever you want on your own time. It's super rewarding in that way. Another pro, like I was saying, is the potential income that you can get from this. You can become a multimillionaire from content creation. You can also make like $10 a year. There's also a ton of platforms that you can work on: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Substack. You can make content for other people if you'd like, anything of that sort. The cons to this are algorithm dependency. If you're making videos and they're hitting, you might be investing into that type of content, and then the next thing you know, the algorithm changes and what you were making is completely useless and you won't get any views and you'll be making no money again. There's also a ton of competition in this. Everyone wants to be a content creator. It's really hard and you're not getting paid until you're making good content. So it can take 2, 3, 4 years for that to happen and you're making no money. Because of that, you may end up burning out and you'll quit before you make any money. If you decide on content creation, you really need to make sure that you'll stick with it for 3, 4, 5 years just to make sure that you're actually giving your account a chance to grow properly. So the barriers to entry is that you pretty much need to be consistent when uploading content. If you're not, the algorithm won't pick you up and you won't be successful. If you don't have time to work on this, you're not going to do well. Another barrier to entry is social media marketing. You need to understand how the algorithms work. You need to understand what people want to watch and why they want to watch it in order to become successful. If you don't know this, you won't do well. Next up on the list is online writing. So online writing is when people write stories, articles, blogs online, and they can get paid doing it. This can be for you. You can have your own personal blog where maybe you get sponsorships and you add them into the blog. There's also ways to make money from recommending other blogs online as well, or you can work on a blog for another company and get paid to do it that way. The pros to this side hustle are the flexible hours. You can pretty much work on it whenever you want. You may have deadlines that you need to meet, but other than that, it's pretty much whenever you want, wherever you want. It's location independent, so it's great for that. This can also be a really rewarding creative outlet for you. The cons to this are the inconsistent income. if you're not working for another company, you may not get a consistent flow of money. If you're doing it on your own, some of your blogs or writing may hit it big and you get some money, and then you can't capitalize on that and it lowers your amount of income that you can earn. But I think you could say that for content creation as well. The barriers to entry for online writing would be your writing skills. If you're not a good writer, you're just not going to do well. You have to learn how to write for people in a way that keeps them engaged. And if you can't do that, you'll never be successful in writing. Along with this, you'll probably need to develop a portfolio of writing that you can use that people will be looking at throughout time. It's a very time-intensive process, and it can be difficult at first when you're not making any money. And then the final barrier to entry would be SEO skills, search engine optimization. You have to know how to get your writing to the forefront of whatever platform you're using so that it can be seen, so that people will read it. Next up on the list is home organization, decluttering, cleaning services, stuff like that. It's pretty much like the landscaping, pressure washing, all that, but for inside the home. So the pros to this kind of side hustle are the low startup costs. You just need to buy the cleaning supplies, and then it's really easy to start doing it. Another pro is that you'll have regular demand. If you're cleaning someone's house once a month, you have that consistent flow of cash that you can know that you're going to be getting and you can rely on. There's also really good flexible scheduling. You pretty much schedule it on your own terms. You can show up whenever and you can clean and then you can leave. The cons to this are that it's physically demanding. Sometimes it can take a long time depending on the size of the house, how messy it is, how much work you're having to put in. That can be really draining. You also have to rely on the local market. If you're in a low density area, it may be really difficult to find clients. But if you're working somewhere near a city in a really big suburban area, it may be much easier. Another barrier to entry is that you may need local permits. You should also get insurance, get an LLC to make sure you don't get sued for messing up or ruining someone's house. You just got to be careful about that. Next up on the list can be a very rewarding side hustle. It's online product sales. Whether it's printables, planners, Excel sheets, worksheets, you name it, you can sell it online and make money. You market these products online through paid ads or social media. You can make so much money. The margins are super high because of the fact that it's all online. The pros to this are the low startup costs. Like I said, if you're just making an Excel sheet with information or something like that, a worksheet, you don't have to pay for that, and then you can sell it. And the only thing that you'll be losing the money on is whatever platform you're using to sell the product. You could sell it for $10 and they take a $1 cut and you keep the remaining $9. Another pro is that there's a global market for this. Since it's all online, anyone could be buying this product. You don't have to focus on your local area, and you can make a ton of money from anywhere in the world. The cons to this are high competition. Because this seems like such an easy, high profit margin side hustle, a bunch of people are trying to do it. So you have to make really good products in order to make really good money. Another con is that you have to be good at digital marketing. Unless you have the money to pay for ads, you need to know how to get clicks or no one will ever see the product and no one will ever buy it. The barriers to entry for this are you need to know how e-commerce platforms work. You need to know how to make money online. You need to know how to create products online that people will actually want to buy. Coming in at number 2 on the list is something that will be huge in 2025, 2026, 2027 and on because it's so new. That is AI prompting and consulting. So AI prompting and consulting is when you work with businesses who are trying to get integrated with AI and you teach them how it works and how to be as good with it as possible. The great news about this is there's tons of companies with a lot of older people. It's a small company and they don't have anyone in-house that knows how AI works. So they outsource, they freelance to get people to teach them what to do. You can make a ton of money with this in a very short amount of time. The pros to this is that it's in a cutting edge industry. Like I said, this is a very new side hustle. This is not something that a ton of people are doing. So you can get in and you can establish yourself very early on. There's also high demand for this. Every business knows what AI is. It's just that some don't know how to use it. They want to use it, they don't know how. There's a big demand and you can make a ton of money. The cons are that the industry is rapidly evolving. Unless you're constantly figuring out what's coming out in AI so that you can help the companies, you're not going to be able to do well and you won't get paid well. You have to be involved and you have to make sure you know what you're talking about and know what's coming, what's just come out, so that you can make sure that you are giving the best product to your customer, the business owners. The barriers to entry are that you need technical expertise, whether it be understanding the coding of how AI works, like OpenAI, you can learn Python for that, or learning how to use these different prompting systems to get the best results. You need to know how to do that or you're not going to make any money. The final side hustle on this list, coming in at 25 out of 30 points, is wholesale real estate. So if you don't know what wholesale real estate is, it might sound kind of crazy. When I first heard about it, I was envisioning you're trying to group sell or group buy houses, but that's not really what it is. So what you're doing is you are finding a bunch of houses and you are calling them up, calling whoever lives there up, and seeing how much they'd be willing to sell their house for if they want to sell it. And you're trying to find people that are trying to sell on the low side. And then you're calling a bunch of buyers that are trying to buy houses. And you reach an agreement through both of them. You are the middleman to these deals. You find the seller, you find the buyer, you bring them together, and then you take a cut of the revenue. The pros to this type of side hustle is that you can make a ton of money. If you find a deal that's for a $500,000 house and you're taking just 1 or 2%, that could be $5,000 or $10,000 on the deal that you're making just for bringing them together. There's also flexible hours for this. You can call people whenever you want and you can get the connections whenever you want. The big cons to this side hustle is that it's very competitive. There's people that have been doing it for a long time. There's a ton of money in it, so people get really good. Another con is that you need strong negotiation skills. If you can't figure out what a seller was willing to sell it for, however low they're selling it for, whatever a buyer wants to buy it for, if you're trying to push them to be able to pay more, you need to be able to negotiate with both sides to get a deal that fits well for both of them and for you. If you can't do that, you're not going to do well. And then a final con for this would be that you may get very inconsistent income. You could go months trying to connect people, and especially in a housing market like this, it may be really hard. And if you don't have a steady stream of income outside of this, you may need to save a ton of money in advance, making sure that you don't run out by the time you get your next sale. So the barriers to entry for this is that you need good negotiation skills, and you also need a good network. You need to know people on both sides, the buy side and the sell side, to make sure that you can get people in contact with each other. If you don't know a ton of people, you're probably going to struggle. And then the final barrier to entry would be that you need to understand the market. You need to understand real estate and how it works so you can make sure that you're doing the best job possible. So that was the list. I hope you found a side hustle that you think you'd enjoy. If you do, make sure to put it in the comments below and reach out to me and let me know how it goes for you. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.